AI art is amazing, but sometimes we don't get the output we were hoping for. With so many different techniques and descriptions of art, it can actually be kind of overwhelming and difficult to identify exactly what we are looking for and being able to condense it into a prompt to get what we would like. Today I'm going to be showing you this prompt generator I discovered. It's really simple to use, so let's go ahead and dive in. Alright, so this is why this site right here, prompt.noonshot.com, has this tool called the Midjourney Prompt Helper. And there will be some things that I'll explain because you might not be aware of yet, but it's a very simple idea to get started. So we have styles right here, right? So one of the main things that makes prompting difficult for something like Midjourney is just not knowing the right descriptors or terms to use in order to get what you're thinking about. And this kind of boils it down in a simplistic way. You know, you got your Amber, you got your anime, that's probably a really popular one, Arabic, and then obviously there's certain things like Fibonacci sequence, that's an interesting thing, electrical, and it can also be a source of inspiration because you might not realize it at the time, but scrolling through here, you might be like, actually, I really would like it to have some relation to the mitochondria and look like that, or look inspired by nebula and whatnot, or nuclear. So I think what we could do here is we could go horror. I like this idea of horror. Now, this button right here is based on the text weight. So this is in relation to what everything is weighted. So if you do 1, here, I'll show you. So you see this : 1. That means it has a weight of 1. And depending on how many other parameters you add and what weights you give them, the 1 will, determine how much of this prompt has in your overall prompt. So if you have horror 1 and you go to lighting and you pick dusk, and you got dusk 1 as well, then it'll be 50-50, the focus for the prompt. If you don't do the text weights, Midjourney kind of just takes it upon themselves to do it however, and have as much dusk or as much horror as they want. So we'll go horror 1, dusk 1 for the lighting. Camera, so we have here 360 panorama. Electron microscope, that's a pretty interesting one. So it looked very zoomed in. We also got other panoramas, wide lensing. I don't think this is one you'll always want to use, but we kind of want to try out this tool to see what it does. So let's go ahead and do panorama. Can we actually do that one as like a 0.4 or something like that? We don't want it to have too much weight because I don't want the photo to look too distorted. Artist. It doesn't have every artist on here, but it can give some ideas. Now the cool thing about this is just its list. Obviously you can go ahead and put whoever you want. After you copy the prompt, you could type in a different artist, so if the one that you like's not on there or not. We're gonna go with this guy. I don't know anything about them, but I saw some of their artwork there and it looked cool. Colors, since we're doing like a dusky horror, neon red, that might pop a little bit, just red in general. Let's do this vermilion. I mean, that just sounds like a horror word, and we could do that, keep that at 1. Materials, magma, metallic. I think we'll actually go with paper, and we don't want to have a huge weight on that one either. We could just go 0.3. I believe if you go to -0.5, it just won't show up at all, and that's what this here for at the bottom is. If you want to exclude a certain term, you would just type it, and it would give it a text weight of like -0.5 or something. Aspect ratio, there is things that you can do. I mean, the options are not very high, but they are there. Now you could do a little bit of a blur or deep focus. I kind of want to do a deep focus. Quality, we'll just keep that default. Stylized to default. Chaos is how much randomness you want in between the generations. So when you use Midjourney, you get the 4 variations, and chaos is kind of like the parameter between them, like how much should they differ, or how much should they be similar. If you have a low chaos, they won't differ a lot. So let's go to happy medium at 50. Seed. Now this is just a number that you can use. If you give it a number, it's a number that you can use to reference in the future. So if you like your seed, or if you like the prompt, the generation, you can actually save the seed and use it as direct reference in the future, or use it again. So let's go ahead and copy our prompt. All right, so we're over here in Midjourney. We're gonna go ahead and put in our prompt. It's gonna send the command, and now we just gotta wait for it to start. And here we have our 4 variations. Yeah, as you can see, we had the chaos parameter only at 50, and there's a pretty big discrepancy in all 4. I'd say, I guess the 2 on the left are both portrait, like bust photos, or portraits. But okay, and here we got our prompt generated, and you can see we only had the chaos parameter at 50, but there is quite a discrepancy between the 4. At least these 2 are similar, since they're both like the vertical portraits. You can see the aspect ratio, so we have a more vertical photo in general. We got the horror aspects in there, blood, cuts, and the red, the vermilion color scheme is definitely in there. The panorama, I can't really tell, probably because we only had it on 0.4 weight, and we had like 5 different text weights, so it really didn't have that much of a share in it. So the tricky part about this is you can have a lot of these, you can have as many text weights as you want, but you really will start to compromise. The more that you add, it compromises less, so you'll have to put the numbers higher if you want it to have more of a focus. So if you would really want it to be horror, or really focusing on the fact that it's this artist's rendition, like a work rendition, you would have to put the text weight up on that. So let's go back and try that. All right, so back over here, we're going to start off fresh, and hopefully now that we have a better of an idea how to use text weights and whatnot, hopefully it goes better. So let's go to styles. Now let's think of something that would be really cool. I'm thinking something that is kind of standing out is this right here, this galactic or futuristic. Let's go ahead, we'll just go with galactic, and we're gonna give it a weight of 2. Now here's the thing, is we might want to add a character. So the one thing about this is, it's got your lighting, you can choose artist, the camera type, colors, style, yada yada. But almost all the art that you see on Midjourney, and what most people want to do, is they want to create interesting subjects. So let's go ahead and think of a popular celebrities. We could do Harry Styles, astronaut. Yeah, so we could do Harry Styles, astronaut, and we can actually change the weighting on that one as well. So let's go ahead and do that at 3 points. So we got the galactic, Harry Styles, astronaut. Let's go ahead. I mean, it's going to be spacey. Let's do it like a nightclub. That sounds good. And we can do 1.5 for that. And colors, I don't really like the colors as much because, grayscale is cool and stuff like that. Maybe magenta, but for the basic colors, pastel's cool, but there isn't a whole lot of options here yet. Yeah, hopefully they add some in the future. But yeah, we want to keep it simple for now, so let's go ahead and copy prompt. But before I do, I want to say that there is the option to upload an inspiration image. So if you have an image's address, which means it's an image off the internet, and it'll have a specific web address, and you can actually copy and paste that into your prompt, and Midjourney will use that as a reference. It can be really helpful, especially if you're trying to develop a certain character or a theme. which is a bit more advanced, but it's something to keep in mind as a possible option. So let's, and here we have our prompt, and I mean, I gotta say, it actually came out pretty good. And honestly, I think the main benefit of a tool like this is just to help you learn and help you learn the effects, and maybe you don't know the name of a certain art style or descriptor out there, and hopefully they add more to the site. But this is a good way to just get your feet wet and learn a little bit. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.